Hi, everyone.
Hi, Mary.
How are you doing, Miss
I'm
Deb?
I'm like so excited to start our. It's not really a new show. It's a
No,
new
it's not.
part of the Ascension, right?
It
And it
is.
feels so good. It feels so right. So that's
It
how I am. I'm good. I'm excited.
well, there's so much going on in the world, you know, and we've heard about ascension for so long that it's hard to believe that it's actually finally really here. Because, like, the biggest question is, what if ascension really isn't something that happens to all of us? What if it's just all of us actually remembering who we are?
Exactly. And
And
we truly feel that is what it is.
with all of the shifts, and it became very apparent because this over the last year. I've went through like a huge transition and transformation, and it really all started with back in February, the regression we did on the Voices of Contact, and the man in the regression started talking about Mama Mary, and then it was and all about the creator races. And you guys kept on saying, I don't know if you remember this, but you kept on saying, what's wrong with your voice? Do you know that person? Your voice has changed. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Never met the person in my life. But it really got me thinking, and especially when we listened back and when we tapped into the subconscious
Hmm.
part, he was talking about Mama Mary being there. I really needed to know who I was at a soul level, not my purpose, not the mission, right? We're both already doing that on a day-to-day basis. Like,
Right.
it's the fullest passion right down to the gut. But why? Why is spirituality so strong in me that there's not, if you were trying to rip it away from me, I'd probably try to cut off your head first. You know,
Right.
then he's always been, he was always worried that I was going to leave him for another man. I'm like, I'm not going to leave you for another man. If you ever tell me that I can't have my spirituality, then we are divorcing, because that's how
Right.
much I love it. I love
Hmm.
my soul more than anything else. And that's what ascension is all about. It's about remembering. And the moment I did that, over that process, slowly just having layers, just like an onion being peeled away, and finally being able to get back to who I was and feeling like the real Mary, not the distorted Mary that all the conditioning puts on us over the years, but the real Mary without the real Mary after full disclosure,
Right. Right.
right? It's
Yeah.
it's life changing.
It truly is. And you and I think we've been saying for a good year, um, we there's things we have to do together. And when I first realized that, I didn't know what it was or why it was or anything else. I just, and we've talked about this in the past that I'm so conditioned in my spirituality to follow what the universe is handing
Hmm.
that
Yes.
I don't question, I don't doubt, I just go with it.
Yeah.
And but I had that knowing, and you also had the knowing that there were things we had to do together. And then when you
Yeah.
sent me something, a message about us doing the DNA awakening, I said, well, I'm not sure I know enough about that. And you said, you do, you just don't remember. And
Hmm.
time, little line, whoa, really, it lit everything up. And I went, I don't remember. That's what this is all about. I need to
Yes.
remember. So that soul memory is life altering for us.
Hmm.
And since then, it's been just a beautiful, I don't even know how to explain what's been going on with us in discussions and classes. And yeah,
Well, it's
but
the evolution.
mhm,
It's time. It's time for people to remember and to clear out all of the distortion that's been placed on us for, hundreds and thousands of years. That spiritual warfare is a real battle that's going on. It's a real
Right.
deal. And,
Mhm.
we have to see our souls as being scattered to the wind. We were originally, as star seeds, the human DNA, the blueprint of that, we were supposed to be 12-strand DNA. All the things that we look at spiritually are actually false narratives to say, yeah, you can be spiritual, but we're going to help keep you trapped here with the false truth versus the real truth. So I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but is it the Kabbalah? Kabbalah?
Kabbalah. Yeah.
Kabbalah? Where you see
Or
the 10
cabal.
space, where you see the 10 spaces there that are supposed to represent our chakra systems and our portals. They're supposed to be 12. We were supposed to originally be seated as 12-strand DNA, but with the spiritual warfare, the negative entities like the archons, among other things, those
Mhm.
come in to suck on our energy. Right.
Yeah.
So if they can continue to get us to not remember and feed us fear, hey, why don't you go watch the news and watch all the war that's happening? Because the more people that believe that war is going to happen, it'll probably happen because of a collective, we create that. I choose
Right.
not to be a sheep. I'm letting go of the fear. And like for everybody, just like I know you, our biggest thing is for people to remember and to find their souls. And we have so many
Mhm.
people on here. Hi,
I
you
know.
guys.
I was just noticing that. Hello, everybody. How nice that you all joined us in the middle of the afternoon. Isn't
I
it
know.
great doing a show not at night? I like this.
For me, it is because I go to bed at 7.
I know. I know. I hear ya.
Remember when I did the show with you a couple of weeks ago, and I was in there at 9 waiting?
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, it doesn't
Ridiculous
start
laughing
till
at me.
10.
I was like,
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's very tough.
that's all
Yeah,
right. I like that.
it
I like
is.
that.
Mhm.
So, Ascension Oneness. What does that mean to you?
Well, going back a little ways, I started getting the law of one, the law of one, the law of one. And I'm thinking, what the heck is this law of one? I didn't know what it meant, where it came from. And then after my big experience in 2017, 16, it was shown to me what the law of one is. And, I can't say most, but many of the other beings adhere to the law of one. And it's people get confused because they think it's like a religion, and it's not. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a knowing, a remembering that we all come from the same source. We are all like millions of little atoms in a glass of water, making up that glass of water, if that makes any sense. Here we are, a universe filled with different living things. And we are all connected. If we weren't, it wouldn't work. So when I think about, oneness with ascension, I don't know about you, but I get like bubbles in my belly because I get so excited that we are finally at this point in our ascension that more and more and more people are realizing we have to realize our oneness. Our oneness is a humongous part of ascension, disclosure, all of it. It gets confusing because it's like a process that we don't control.
No, we're not allowed to.
We're just, we wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go, oh my God, that makes sense. Because we get all this information. But we have, we're not the ones in control of this. But without disclosure and without realizing our oneness, we can't have ascension. But we're there. We are
That's
there.
Exactly it. And I think, we're at that threshold of of that separation, right? We are now as a collective separating from the ideal of separation, because that's just a survival program. The
Mm-hmm.
majority of people are going through everyday life just surviving, but why?
Right.
Why? Yeah, it's if you take the time to slow down and heal your soul and peel back those layers, you don't have to do that. Life becomes so much easier. You know, the when we think about separation, what we're doing is we're focusing on our trauma instead of our truth. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like a downward spiral type pattern. And like oneness, it doesn't create like it doesn't take away from individuality. It just shows that we're connected. And I think that's where, like you were right, where people have this tendency to confuse it, where if we're all one, then how am I my own self? Well, because you're sovereign. When you go through ascension and you do that work, you find your I am. You find that there is a God that does exist, but it does not exist in organized religion telling you how to believe. Those structure systems are all dying. God's source
Mm-hmm.
is within you. That's what helps you remember, is knowing that you are sovereign. And once you are sovereign, nobody's taking that away from you. And just like you, Deb, that's what we want. We
Right.
we want every single person, whether they wear a bra or not, to rip it off and say F you to everybody who has kept them trapped and bound. No more chains, no more
Right.
ties.
Right.
So now I'm going to get all
Exactly.
feisty. Ah,
And well said. Get feisty. That's what it's all about. That way people understand that you mean what you say. You're passionate about how you feel about this. And it's something, honestly, that for our entire universe, we all need to be passionate about
well, it's a
because
battle for our souls.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. We can stay in that low vibrating place and struggle. And I don't think we're saying, Mary, that life isn't a struggle. We're
Yeah, it
not
is.
saying life is always easy. You know, for crying out loud, we live in Michigan. Poverty is a real thing.
Yeah.
We do struggle to pay bills and buy groceries, and we have all those same struggles. But many of these are third dimensional. They're very physical.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and we have to bring that physical and the spiritual, the soul, body, mind, and soul all together, and become one with that. Not like you were saying, we are all individual. So we have to do that for ourselves, but we're also doing it for the whole.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. When we heal ourselves, we heal everybody else. Just
Mm-hmm.
like as a mother, as you heal yourself, you heal your children. I've been noticing that. I've seen this shift in my children. Um, and that's just even more of a foundation of the proof for me that everything is connected.
Yeah.
They're your DNA, right? So the people that are
Right.
connected to you, that are family, when you heal, they heal themselves. And I think that's where, DNA activation, that really did lead me into releasing everything. And
Mm-hmm.
who would have thought it'd be so easy to go and retreat the pieces of your soul that have been destroyed from trauma and bring them back and integrate them,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Even after we do the DNA activations, the people that come up and say, "What did you do to us?" It's supposed to work that way. I'll allow
Well,
it. It's a
I'm
beautiful
noticing in
thing.
chat we do have a few people that have gone through our DNA activation,
Ooh,
and I
yeah.
would love for them to say, did this make a difference in your life? How did it, you don't have to go into deep personal stuff, but did it make a difference? Because I think even though, some people take that and afterwards they feel so wonderful and things start happening, they kind of mentally get back to where they were, living a third dimensional life. But I'm curious, does that, I would believe that it's still going to make a difference, even though you go back to the everyday thing. It's there. You have that knowing about yourself.
It is. And like where for me, it's the presence of feeling joy. Right. Not just going through your day, but feeling happy and excited about the day, even though there's crap that you're going to have to deal with. That was the switch for me, was
Mhm.
not less stress, not, less bills, but I was able to go through everyday life and just be happy that I woke up and feel
Right.
joy and excitement. And
Yeah.
the majority of us have gotten away from that because we're all bogged down. Because we've forgotten. We've forgotten what it's like to live. And that's the way they wanted it. So I
Mhm.
just feel like it's time for us to fight back.
Yeah.
Plain and
Yep,
simple.
it is. I totally agree. And I would love to hear from um, anybody out there that has some comments on it. I'm not seeing anything new, but I would certainly love to hear what other people feel about this because you know, and I know I've told the story before, but as we were coming in 2016, I got that kind of where you're at right now and where I'm at with all of this. I got that big urge that, oh my God, this is it. We are there. This is all
Mm-hmm.
about awakening. Um, in my story, I started doing tons of classes on spirituality and evolution and all of that because it was a knowing that here we go. And that's here again. It's
Well,
it's been a process. And you hear people talk about, oh, when the Big Bang happens. No, it's not a Big Bang. This is a
nope.
process. It truly
Nope.
is. And even though we think as humans we have no control over it, we have a control over how we deal with it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And
Yep.
either
Like
we
what is
can be,
But my favorite saying is by Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not the problem that's the problem. It's your reaction to the problem that's the problem. Which I always
exactly.
love to use when somebody's complaining. I'll say that to them because they'll have to pause and think about what I said for a minute. And then they'll go, oh, I didn't think about it that way. I'm like, there you go. My piece of advice for today.
That's a good one. I like that.
So who all do we
Truly.
have on here?
Well, we have Veronica and Valerie, Liz, Linkster, Pine Manor, whoops, Chicago Weddings. Ooh. Oh, Pam with the dog from the Move On meeting. Hi,
Oh,
Pam.
okay. Hi.
Yeah. Linkster and Karen Clark. Hi, Karen. Sylvia. We
Miss
love her, Sylvia. And Marie. And I know Marie, I think Marie took the class, maybe not. Tom Owen. It's good to see all of you. If I'm missing anybody, I'm sorry.
Miss Liz. I see Liz on there.
Yes.
Yes. And
Hi,
then
Liz.
hi Mark. It's Mark. Hi,
Hi,
Mark.
Mark.
Aw.
We love Mark, and Mark will be on with us. Maybe we should take a moment and let everybody know what is happening with the shows.
Yeah. Well, it's weird how it all. I've been thinking about the sacred code for a while, and at first I was thinking it was something more for me with the channeling that I'm starting to evolve into, even though I don't understand. And I don't know, it just kept on rolling out where they kept on pushing it. And I think it's supposed to shift like this from the voices of contact because disclosure is more supernatural than just a one fit all type of theme. There's so much more going on behind the scenes with all of this, with the ascension, with everything that's going on in the world than just UFO. And I think the goal really is to dig in with the sacred code to all of the parts of the supernatural where, and I say supernatural because I pile in supernaturals for me, the UFO, the spiritual, the paranormal, the cryptid. It's supernatural. And if man, the more I have opened up, the more I really realize all the crap that's going on around us that nobody ever sees or feels or hears. And we totally live in a matrix full of so many different spiritual energies that we don't have a name for. But it's not a scary thing. I just want to delve into it and get our answers, because the supernatural is where we're going to find our answers.
Right,
Like,
right, right. And
but you aren't do that. You've been just waiting for me to catch up to you. So it's all right.
Talking about fear, a scary thing. We really don't want anyone to be afraid of this, because what does fear do? It holds us down, holds us back. There's the only, fear is mainly, it's negative for one, but it's the unknown. Why are people afraid of ghosts? Because it's an unknown. They don't see.
That's right.
They don't understand. When I first got into ghost hunting 35 years ago, it was kind of scary. I'd be in someone's home and hear a noise, and I'd be like, oh, crap. Those F words that you see on TV flying out of mouths. I did that a few times. But as you get used to it and it becomes a known, just knowing they exist, knowing they're not going to harm you, the fear went away. So this is kind of the same thing. Yes, we're ascending. It's all of it is very supernatural, but it doesn't need to be scary.
And see, that's exactly it. It's definitely not scary. It's a beautiful thing to sit back, especially as a spiritual person, and be able to experience some really off the wall, spiritual experiences that not everybody gets to experience. And everybody has the ability to have those experiences if they just let go of that fear of it. It's life-changing, spirituality is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Oh,
I know it's changed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. It has mine as well. And that's why, I'm so excited that we're doing the different shows now. The Voices of Contact is amazing. And, that will continue.
Yep.
We are still, Voices of Contact.
That's still, it's too important for it not to continue. It's too big of a work.
But to integrate more, I think is crucial at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Because it is all about disclosure and ascension.
It is. We've been hearing the word for such a long time. I don't know, for anybody who's listening, if you ever read the book of Mary Magdalene, she in her I forget what you would call them, but in her text that they found, in her scrolls, she talks about what ascension is, and she explains it beautifully. So if you guys ever, it's like an 84-page book. So if you're not a big reader, it's a really short read with big print. Perfect for me. Loved it. But that piece in that book, when she talks about the process of the soul, is, for me, it was life-changing because it hit home. But it really talks about ascension being leveling through life. So leveling through the pain, leveling through the trauma, the stress, and through every level, every demon you battle, you ascend just a little bit more. And so now we're here, right? And the biggest thing is we need to look at our trauma, just like Mary Magdalene said, I see you, but you did not see me. That is what ascension is right there. And I just gave myself chills. You tell your trauma, I see you, but you did not see me. That's how you beat your trauma, let it go, and level up to the next level. No soul should be stuck, not when they don't have to be. So, yeah.
Amen to that. And,
Amen to that.
As beautiful as we see ascension, some people are terribly afraid of it. They think, oh my gosh, to ascend, that means we're going to die and come back on someplace else and all of that. And it's not that. Not at all.
No, and what that really is, so for anybody who's listening, go check out the Ascension glossary and read about the Armageddon agenda. All right. I've been doing a lot of research on this. And so when I talk about letting go of the fear, because we've been conditioned with fear, the Armageddon agenda is exactly that. They have fed those lies to us, just like global warming and everything else, because what does it do? It generates fear. It's a false narrative. It's distortion. And then we get created and they can control us, which they have done a fabulous job. And it's one of the reasons why I refuse to play politics and watch it or follow it. Because if we really think about it, where's the spiritual warfare being played out? Mm-hmm. And who can you really trust? Because you can't trust either side. They really don't care. They're caring about the fight. They don't see that it's a battle for souls. I want to rise above it and ignore. I don't pay attention to the 3D. And I think if we more paid attention to our souls and worked towards that instead of focusing on the outside world, we would have more joy, just because we wouldn't listen to everybody else's crap, for one. But it eases our mind and gives us peace.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I feel like that's a big thing with letting go of the fear. And it's hard because that's one of the biggest things that has been implanted into our DNA. That's why disclosure and understanding it is so important, because I have really come to and this is just my belief, so nobody hate me. This is just from my channeling, my meditations, my own spiritual journey, the conclusion that I have come to. So through all the regression work, and I hear people talk about the grays, and I hear people talk about the archons and being taken. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think having contact with a being is completely different from actually being taken. I have seen the difference, but I feel like the ones that we're seeing in the skies, the ones who are taking us, that's the negative alien agenda. When I talk about the spiritual warfare, we're talking about the good versus evil. We're talking about evil being NAA, which is the negative alien agenda. That has a lot of different beings that are collected. Archons being one of them, grays. Mm-hmm. I've done research where we talk about the moon circle, and grays come from the moon, on the dark side of the moon, and they use that to feed us fear. Can I prove it's true? No. But we're getting fear from somewhere. I'm saying maybe you guys should go research that yourself, and then the next show we have, let's talk about it. Because I'm not saying it's right. It's just one of those things that make me think. I don't want to be told what to think. I want to figure it out myself. Mm-hmm. And if, I look at what's going on in the world right now too, and this is why I say the Armageddon thing is just a false reality to keep us held trapped from remembering, is doing my research and doing the channeling, talking to my galactics and sitting there and writing out what they tell me. What they're showing me is there is vortexes all around this world, okay, all around this earth. And that's where the spiritual warfare is being fought, is through these vortexes, because those vortexes are powerful energy centers that will transmit the energy that comes down from the universe, right? So through these will either come good energy or bad energy. Over the last 10 years, since 2012, and the Mayan calendar has ended, we have slowly, as a collective of, I'm not saying the higher ups, the higher spiritual energies, okay? This is what they've shown me, especially the Palladians. Deb knows what I'm talking about, the Palladians. They have been in battle over these vortexes that have opened them up enough where the good energy is starting to win. But we're also in the world going to see battles being done over these places, because on a 3D level, they think they need the oil. But on a spiritual level, we need the vortexes. The people were, the politicians in 3D, like everybody who's just going through everyday life with no spirituality, all they're doing is they're just running in the program that's been created for them. Yeah. Right now, on the spiritual level, we are doing battle for those vortexes. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because we're on the 3D level and we're dealing with what that means for all the people in those areas. Iran has the biggest. just so you guys know. I'm just trying to put it in perspective of the things that I see actually playing out in the big picture of what they show me. And, Stonehenge is one of them. The pyramids, that's another. But if we think about all of the centuries we've done battles, Israel's another. Think about all the wars we've been fighting. It hasn't been for oil. The stupid 3D people trying to fight the war might think it is, but they're just being pawns being used in a bigger battle. So for us, I say that as a collective, if we can focus on the positivity and the love and tell all the negative entities to screw off, then
well said.
For our souls. If we get together and battle together for our souls, there's no way they can win. We just have to remember. That's all.
Yep.
It's so much simpler than people think. I'll stop running my mouth. I'm sorry.
Never stop. Never stop. Every voice needs to be heard. And you make some really good points. You really do. And, I kind of dare people. I'm going to say I dare people to kind of step back a little bit from that. Wake up in the morning, get ready, go to work, come home, do, your daily routine, just going through it without thinking, without feeling, without being who you are. I dare you to take some time every single day to sit, possibly in meditation. I prefer meditation of any type, and allow positive to come into your life, because, negative is attracted to negative, right? If you think of two magnets that have to go together, but if you turn one magnet around, it's going to shoot that negative away. And that's really kind of what it's like. So if you focus even 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day on bringing in some sort of positive energy and allowing it to flow through you and flow back out, you're making a difference for the whole. Because remember, we're one.
That's right.
So every person out there, every person out there that is just kind of going about their business and doing their thing without thinking, living the matrix, that could be negative effects. That could be holding us back.
Yeah.
And we don't want to be held back. And it's not, like we said earlier, it's not like we're going to, everybody's going to die and then be reborn.
It's not like what the Bible says, no.
Ascending is. What was that?
So the Bible's just a good book. It's not truth.
Right. Yeah. It's something that's happening. It is in the process, and we're doing it.
Mark wants us to remind everyone that we're going to be doing the meditation class on March 7th. So that might be a good time for them to, if they want to learn how to do meditation, and that there's not a right way to do a meditation. If they want to learn their niche, that would be a good place to start to grow. And I want to know what Mark I mildly said, Mary. Ha, ha, ha. 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 We'll chat later.
Yeah. You're going to be there, Mark?
I think one of the biggest and hardest things about the whole transition with the DNA activation and more of the awakening, the Kundalini rising, whatever you want to call it, is the emotions. It's literally sometimes an emotional roller coaster, because one day I will be completely happy, and then like halfway through, all of a sudden I feel really sad and I want to cry, and then I'll be sad for about 5 minutes and I'll be like, I'm happy again. It's like, woo. Yeah. But really what it is it's your nervous system recalibrating, because this is what it's all about. Is it all boils down to our nervous system. When you read the cliche, post about talk to your cells nicely, talk to yourself nicely, your cells listen. It really literally actually is the truth. It's not a cliche statement. Our nervous system is where we hold our trauma. And if you don't heal that trauma, it will mess you up. I did it at work. That's one of the reasons I really decided to remember, because at work, I'm required to get up, in front of commissioners and speak. How about that for fear? That freaked me out. And that really brought up a lot of trauma triggers for me. And the last time I really had to do it, I shook so bad that the whole podium was shaking. I was totally embarrassed. So, you have your bad days, you hunker down. I went and took classes on public speaking, but it still wasn't working for me. Right. No matter how I'm like, this isn't the Mary I know. Well, that's when, Metatron laughs and he says, you're not the old Mary. But I tell you what, the moment I started to awaken my DNA, I don't do that anymore. I don't like doing it, but I don't shake anymore. It's the recognition that nobody likes doing it. But now I don't come out with the unhealed version of me that can't handle any kind of stress that might trigger some trauma, because it's fight or flight, right? And that's what your body's going to do. It's going to react. So there's so many things that you don't realize how much you heal when you work on your nervous system. So listen to those statements when they say to you, talk nicely to yourself, because it's listening, because it is.
Yeah.
That's how I feel the same way about getting on camera too.
Marie, well, I've been doing Andrea's show on Friday nights, A World Awakening. And this coming Friday, we're doing a show we have a ministry, the Unity Tree Interfaith Ministry. And it's Jamila, Val, Marie, myself, and Andrea. We're the five, we're the board that has created this. And so we're all going to be on the show Friday night, and Marie's wanting to hide behind something. She really hates being on. So this is a good show for you to listen to, Marie. You
have to put her out that front. I'm going to shove you out there.
Yeah.
That's good. It is. Because it feels weird. You're out of your comfort zone. And the biggest thing I learned when you're doing things like with the camera or you're speaking in front of people, it really goes back to caveman times, where back then it was fight or flight. You were either fighting for your life or you were running for your life. And so it's still that's all in our souls and our DNA and all of our cells. So if we don't find a way to heal that and be okay with that, then we're still going to carry that trauma. So
yeah.
It's really
it is a human thing that does go way back in our DNA. You're so right. And I see it. I'm just going to use a quick little example of, I have some feral kitties now who, to save their lives, I trap them, and I've been getting them vet care and things like that. And I feel so bad because the only time they're really comfortable is when they can be in hiding. They can get in somewhere where we can't see them, and they hide, and that's instinct for them.
Yeah.
Well, one of my kitties, within 3 days, was showing humongous trust. And that cat now, and it's only been a few months, but he gave that up. He will still hide when he wants to, but he doesn't have that fear all the time of humans or being seen. And, I've thought about it many times. People are the same way. If we can hide behind a mask or behind whatever, we do.
It is, yeah. It's because, we're conditioned throughout life that we have to. Otherwise, we're going to suffer repercussions for being ourselves. And so when we become adults and we can be ourselves, we're afraid to be ourselves.
Right.
And we live
Right.
life under a delusion. We live life, according to what everybody thinks we're supposed to be living. And thank you, Liz. She wrote pretty nice messages. That's why we have Liz on. What else can you say about us? What else you got?
Right. And Lee too. Lee was very sweet.
Oh yes, thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Oh, I'm sorry, Liz. It was Lee that I saw. She popped in right after, but I love Liz anyway because she always watches our shows.
Yes.
Has
It's a
space.
wonderful soul. And I love the connection. Love it, love it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of want to say to people, think about the person on this planet who you're close with. It might be your spouse, it might be your mom, it might be your son, whatever, somebody that you're really close with. And if you wake up in the morning and your hair is sticking up and you have drool on your face, it doesn't matter because they love you anyways, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of take that feeling and start to work it in with other people, with other situations. Know that we can all be comfortable being us.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that Deb's going to come on here without makeup and all that? Probably not, because I'm just,
hell no.
I'm a 70s girl and I love my eyeliner. But, that comfort that we can feel with some people is how we are when we don't have to wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could take that mask off even a little bit, it can help us to realize our oneness.
Yes. Well, the reality is too, because I used to wear those masks. I used to present only so much because I was like, well, if I say too much, then they won't like me. If I do this, they won't like me. And I don't want to make anybody mad. I just want them to like me. But what I realized, the more I opened up and the more I showed my authentic self, the more friends I got, because more people trust you when you're being authentic, because they know that you trust them to be authentic.
Right. And they don't have to second guess. And it's something that, is very exhausting as a human being to have to second guess people who, are they out to hurt me? Are they out to get something from me? This is something that we all go through in life. You have to wonder what other people are thinking. So don't be one of those people.
Oh, that's exactly it. And I think, that's the tough part about Ascension, because it does make you feel so emotional and off kiltered. There's been times like UFO Con, like when I first saw you, I was so excited. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I cannot calm myself down. I'm like, but because you do this, so when you're really, really excited, I'm like, Deb's going to shoot me. She's going to make me go back to my room because I won't shut up.
Deb loved me even more.
But we have to remember like that grief, to get rid of trauma, we have to give it a story. Tell your story, right? Allow the ascension to happen by telling your story and sharing your truth, even if it's just with one person. And it's time for you to stand up for yourself and put somebody in their place, right? When you when you speak your truth, you set your soul free. It helps you remember.
Right.
It's okay not to like certain things. I'll give a small example of being sovereign and being okay with being sovereign. So every year families get together for Christmas. Mine's no different. Every year, we've done this for 20 years, and every year they do stupid games. I'm not saying games are stupid. If people like playing games, that's great. I don't. That's just me. I like to watch people play games. I don't want to play them. But for 20 years, I've been forced to play those games, even after I said I wasn't. This year, the look on their faces was astonishing because I said no. They tried to push me. I said no. They pushed again, and I said, no, I think games are stupid, but I'm more than happy to sit and watch. And they just kind of looked at me. But why should I have to feel guilty because I said no to something I don't want to do, and it might make them upset? Too damn bad.
Right.
I'm sovereign,
Right.
and so is everybody else. It's okay to say no and be okay with the fact, with not feeling guilty because you didn't make somebody else happy. And I can
Right.
guarantee you, everybody who's listening has something they can think about where they do exactly that. And that's what we do every day on our day-to-day basis, is tell everybody else yes because we feel like we have to. Well, here's the secret: we don't. You don't have to. You can still give people your energy and stay sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
I think we just got a little bit backwards. And,
Right.
you know, the more you speak your truth to other people, the more you connect with other people, the more you ascend, the more we do rise our vibration, as a collective, but the more sovereign you become and the more awake you become. You remember.
Right.
We need to know that it is okay to be more than just okay.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Think about the glass of water. Every atom in there. I'm so weird. I am so weird, but this is what I do.
it's all right.
Goofy analogies. But every atom in that glass of water needs to be healthy and strong.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, yes, be sovereign, be strong, be a voice. You're
Yeah.
helping other people to do the same thing, to become healthy, to become happy within their own beings.
Yes.
Sorry about
So
that.
so here's a question for you. And this is just like
Mhm.
some of the things where my mind goes. Do you think that Ascension makes people like vulnerable to see? For me, I'm trying to put it in the right words. For the longest time, I was afraid to connect with people because I was afraid that they would hurt me. I was afraid of getting breakthroughs I didn't want to see. And like, do you think people fear ascension because they fear losing themselves? If they think they have to be a collective? You see what I'm saying? Like, if ascension means we're completely opening up and connecting to everybody, how afraid do I have to be that somebody's going to hurt me or they're going to take advantage of my compassion because I'm
Mhm.
trying to be spiritual? Well, like, that's a struggle that I've been going through. Like, what's your take on that?
I totally agree. And part of it is, as you said earlier, we have been conditioned for years and years and years, dumbed down emotionally, physically, mentally, every way you can think of. And we have been taught that we have to fear everything. And this ascension has been coming for quite some time. I mean, years. We've been going through it. It's almost like the more we go through it, um, people become doubtful.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to put ourselves out there and open ourselves up. Mary, you and I have talked many times. I learned some tough lessons in life. Life hasn't been easy for me, for anybody. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go
Yeah.
with that. And I'm at the point in my life where if people are betray me, I'm going to use a post that I saw on Facebook the other day. Here's an example. I'm a loyal friend. I'll always be honest. I'll be as kind as I can be, but I can't help but be honest. I give what I can give. And sometimes that gets me hurt. I
Yeah.
realize that because not everybody has that. Some people aren't honest, or what I mean. So it can be hard to put yourself out there. But you
It
can
is.
also get to the point where if that happens, no, it's going to happen. And sometimes it was meant to happen. You're
Mm-hmm.
meant to be in that person's life and them in your life for so long. And then it's time to move along.
Yeah. And
So
I
I've gotten
think,
really good at I can close the door. I don't hate the person. I don't wish them negative. I wish them love. I wish them well. I send blessings. But I
yeah.
move forward.
You know when it's time to close it.
Right. So
Yeah,
as long as you're moving forward in love with blessings, you have nothing to fear.
that's
People
true.
will hurt you. Things will hurt you, but it's not going to kill you.
And
Your
I think that's
girlfriend.
the biggest thing I've learned from Ascension. You're right. Is now, yeah, now that I think about it, like I have gone through a lot of that alone this year of dealing with that kind of thing. But the other side of that is because of Ascension, I got really good though at setting the boundaries. And now I can do just like you did. It's nothing negative. It's just I'm going to let that door close and move forward to other things. So
Mhm,
I think Ascension and that growth, you might experience those, but like you said, it becomes easier.
mhm.
So I think that's the beautiful thing about the spiritual growth of it.
Right. Realizing that it's going to happen. Don't cut yourself off from people, from experiences, from lessons because you're afraid of it. Allow it to happen, learn from it, and move forward. Do I cry about it sometimes? Absolutely.
Yes.
We've all had people stab us in the back that we thought would never do
Yeah.
that, but it happens.
Yep. As is life.
But you have to move forward. So move forward.
That's right. So I have one more thing I want to talk about with the Ascension Oneness. The way I see it, like for me, the biggest impact I see with this Ascension Oneness, with Ascension in general, is all the shifts, all the structures that are starting to die out. We're seeing governmental structures die out. Look at Minnesota. If you don't think that we're going to find that in every single state coming up, we're fooling ourselves. But that's a
Right.
good thing. We can be up in arms about it, and we should be angry about that. People ripping off money. But what's happening is all the old structure systems, they're dying. And what Ascension represents is new leadership taking over. And new leadership over the world, new leadership over life in general, isn't going to be, you know, not necessarily men in power, but bigwigs in power who run everything and get to do whatever they want. It's going to be ran by leaders, real leaders. And that makes me understand
Women.
now why why I'm in a director's position in a big wig. I'm a big wig political person, and I hate big wigs and I hate politics. So why the hell did I end up here? Why, universe? This is one of the questions that I've asked over the last year. Am I even supposed to be director? It doesn't make sense to me with my spiritual work. It does, because the old structures are dying. And it's the leaders who are going to be in charge and running things, not the directors. And deep down, that's what I am. I'm a leader. So, like, old
Smart.
structures, old structures are dying. And like we're going to see people moving through ascension. I think people who are natural born leaders are going to see themselves move through it very, very fast because everything's amping up. And I feel everything amp up every time there's something going on around the world. Like my day goes crazy with spiritual stuff just popping up, That's nonstop. I'm like, I think it was last week, and I'm like, Dad, what is going on? Like, what the hell? Oh my gosh. It was like nonstop. But it's because everything's amping up. So, especially if you're finding yourself going through some of these crazy symptoms, like, feeling tired all the time, feeling angry, feeling emotion, feeling like you're going to cry, being happy, having things fall out of your life. Those are ascension symptoms. And if you're
Mhm.
feeling them hardcore, like everything's overwhelmed, then you are a leader. Get ready to wake up because you're going to be forced to. You're not going to have a choice because everything's shifting. For
Yeah.
the spiritual people, it's a very, very good shift. And our job, I think, is to hold our vibrations high enough so that the ones who aren't spiritual can also shift the energy. Because it's not really
Right.
about going to a new earth, it's shifting our vibration to a different plane. When we talk about our oversoul is nothing but our future self talking to us, telling us how to get there. It's like, if we, again, it goes into that supernatural. The more I channel, the more I research, the more they laugh at me and shake their head, and they're like, is she really asking this question again? Yeah, because I want to know if it's the right answer, because I go down rabbit holes. But we are headed into a beautiful time.
Yeah.
And if we can work on ourselves and love ourselves and work on the I am, there's not going to be any negative alien agenda, no fake disclosure. Because if you really think the government is going to disclose extraterrestrials to us, they are not. They are going to expose extraterrestrials and make it look like we have to fear them. What a surprise. We have to be afraid of something when it's the Palladians who are trying to help us through our ascension. They want us to fear that. So when we see that all come out and we start seeing the UFOs and all that, don't feed into the fear that they're going to try to suck us into, because it's not real. It's fake.
Right. It's the whole fear thing is a control thing. Really, we have nothing to fear. And we keep saying spirituality, but there are many people out there who are very positive and loving and giving, who don't see themselves, even though they're walking the spiritual life, but they don't see themselves as spiritual. And I just want to say publicly that we're not dissing, anybody who doesn't say, "Oh, I'm a spiritual person." Everybody, every being is evolving.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep, definitely on their own level. And because I see it everywhere too, in just everyday life. I see people, I see them shifting and them changing. It's happening to everybody. And it could just happen faster if you embrace it. And Heidi, I will not stay away from rabbit holes. I have to
giggle because I think Heidi knows. Heidi knows both of us well enough to know those two ladies right there, Deb and Mary, are rabbit hole crazy.
Yes.
We love rabbit holes.
Sometimes I will have to pull myself. I'll be like, nope, you got to rein that in, because you're going to go into like a whole different direction. Like, okay. I love the rabbit hole.
Yep. I will start investigating something, researching something, and like 18 hours later, I'm like, what am I doing? I haven't eaten. I haven't gotten up to go to the bathroom. I need to breathe here. Yeah, I love it.
He's like, don't you ever get tired of thinking? I'm like, no. No. but he's a TV watcher and I'm a researcher. So I tune out the TV. I'm just always researching something. I have to. But really, we're almost out of time. But for everybody listening, go to the Ascension glossary and put in some of this information. It's really mind-blowing, because what I like to do is I will go like meditate and channel. Have you noticed the younger generation seem to be so much more spiritual and open? Yes, that's because they're starseeds.
Yes, exactly. We have so many more things to talk about, and I hate that we're out of time. This is horrible.
We went by way too fast.
We will be on tomorrow night, though.
Well, we have to pre-record that one. We'll be on again. We'll play it on Tuesday live. Next Tuesday will be Tim and Lauren from Potographs. They just can't do 3, so we're going to pre-record it and then put it up there live. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. And then next month we're going to be talking about Ascension more. So this time next month, 1 month later. Don't ask me the exact date because I haven't looked at it, but we're going to be talking about the dark night of the soul. And that's a huge transition for Ascension, because Jen Cruz from the Sea Squatchers is going to be on with us, because she has like this huge story of a transition phase that she went through that was like pure dark night of the soul. So she wants to share it all with us. So, but we are officially out of time. Do you have anything to say before we leave?
Good night, everybody. We love you. Or good afternoon. It's not even night.
Yeah, I know. We're used to night. This is more fun, I think, because I'm more awake. So,
same here.
There's that.
Love you all. Thank you, Mary.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining.